So when you look at the way the Holy Qur'an is set up, we know that there's a rule of interpretation. Some of its ayats are decisive; they're the foundation of the book, and others are allegorical. And when you look at the word for allegorical, I believe the Arabic word is mathala. And the word mathala also means parable, it means simile, it means proverb, it means metaphor. And the way that Allah describes events in the Holy Quran through events that take place in nature is the same way, if we look at Closing the Gap, page 19, how the Savior used to teach the original believers in the early parts, the early history of Islam, correct?
Yes, sir.
It said that he would teach them the way you teach children. You would teach them using pictures. So really, when you look at teaching using pictures that the Savior used at that time period, and you look at how there's parables and wisdom is given to us through the study of different aspects of the universe, that we could say is synonymous with what we would call, using the language of the tech, a demo kit. Could we say those are the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because when you look at a demo kit, according to the study tech, specifically student hat, a demo kit is what they use to produce mass in order to fully comprehend a concept, correct?
Yes, sir.
And L. Ron Hubbard states that if you can't sketch it out, then you don't fully understand it. Interesting point is that when you look at sketching on a piece of paper, that'd be two-dimensional. Or if you sculpt it, that would be three-dimensional, correct? And in the tech, they call that the clay table demonstration. You have to work out a concept in clay, okay? But when you look at the word mathala in Arabic, which means parable, the word mathala also means to represent in a picture, and it also means to represent in a sculpture. And it also means to represent graphically. Now, as soon as you start dealing with graphs, now you're dealing with mathematics, correct?
Yes.
And I find it interesting that the Arabic word mathala, which means metaphor, allegories, parables, proverbs, adages, and similes, the first part of the word mathala is math. So math, two-dimensional and three-dimensional, the same thing you use for study tech, it would be the same thing that Allah is using in the Holy Quran. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And that's why we say that the universe is Allah's demo kit. Whereas if we look at extension course, or not extension course, but when you're on course at the org, you have that little bowl with the little trinkets and the glass and the cubes and paper clips and those things. But when you look at our problem book, our demo kits are Pluto, Jupiter. Our demo kit is the Earth and Mercury, right? Our demo kit is the speed at which thought can travel to the far planet Pluto in 10 seconds. So the demo kit that we have is the universe. That's our demo kit. Okay. Let's see, what else? Any other questions before we get started?
One question: when you say our demo kit is the universe, that meaning all things within the ether, the knowledge, and all that, correct?
Yes, sir. You can, if you look at Surah 2, ayat number 26, it says Allah disdains not to set forth any parable, a gnat, or anything above that. Okay. Now let's look at that for a split second before we get into it. We're going to get into the rust on the heart as the demo kit. But when you look at the parable of the gnat, if you look at it as a formula or an equation, we could interchange word parable for demo kit. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In mathematics, that's called the law of substitution. And we know if you have, and we've said this 1,000 times, but if you have two different equations, so if I say x plus 5 equals 7, right? What does x equal?
2.
2. X equals 2. If I say y plus 6 equals 8, what does y equal?
2.
Y equals 2.
Okay.
Can I switch them around and now say, can I say y plus 5 equals 7? Is that true?
Yes.
Because y equals 2.
Right.
But I also say x plus 6 equals 8.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you look at x and y on the surface and you stay a surface dweller, you would look at x and y and say x and y are two different things. But if you understood the underlying or the inner understanding of x and y, then we could understand that even though outwardly they look different, they still both have the same value, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So when we look at the word parable, methala, and we look at demo kit, outwardly, they look like two different things, correct? But these two things are actually the same. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Does everyone follow that logic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's say that for just a split second. When you deal with a mathematical proof, there's a limited number of options you can have. So follow me. If you have two different concepts, they either have nothing in common. Does that make sense? These two things could be totally different and have nothing in common, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Another option is they have at least one thing in common. Could that be true?
Yes.
Okay. The third option is they could have only one thing in common. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So when you say they have at least one thing in common, they have at least one thing in common, but they can have many more. Does that all make
Correct.
sense to us?
Correct.
Then you could say two concepts have many things in common, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if those options are limited, as soon as you find at least one thing in common, then that eliminates the concept that they have nothing in common, correct?
Right.
And if they have at least one thing in common, and then you find a second thing they have in common, then that eliminates the fact that they only have one thing in common. Is this all making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
So as soon as you find two things that appear different and you have two things in common, that means potentially they could have many things in common, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've already proven by a lot of grace that when you marry the supreme wisdom with the supreme technology, we've already, in the course of almost 5 years, we have proven, with Allah's help, probably hundreds of things in common. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So now tonight we want to look at the rust that's on the heart and then see if we can find some things in the Holy Qur'an and find some things in the tech that would show that we have found yet another marriage. Go ahead, Sister Anya. Sister Anya?
Brother Lukeman,
Yes, ma'am.
if you don't mind explaining that part again about the two different concepts.
Okay.
Because I got interrupted in the middle of it, so I lost my train of thought with it.
Okay. So when you have this idea, and this is for us, but this is also for other individuals that might get a chance to view this on YouTube who have taken and studies. This is coming from a concept called set theory. We have two sets, okay? Set A has items in it, and then set B has some items in it. Now, if I have set A and set B, there's only a handful of options that could be true. Option number one, both of these things have absolutely nothing in common. Does everyone follow that?
Right.
Let's say, okay, so let's say I have a set over here, and this set has the numbers 1, 2, and 3. And then I have this set over here has 4, 5, and 6. So these two sets have nothing in common, correct?
Right,
Make sense?
right.
Right.
Okay. Then I have this set has 1, 2, and 3. And then this set has 1, 5, and 6. So they have the number 1 in common, correct?
Right,
Make sense?
right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let's say I have in this set 1, 2, and 3. And in this set, I know I have a 1, but I don't know what the other ones are. If this set has 1, 2, and 4, then I know at least I found a 1, but it's possible that there might be more than one thing in common. And then when I look, I see, okay, this set is 1, 2, and 3. This set is 1, 2, and 5. Now I have found more than one thing in common, correct?
Right.
Okay. But now when you have something like Islam, our teachings, you have a set. Islam is a set or a collection of information, correct?
Correct.
And it would be a set that contains a very large collection of data, correct?
Correct.
Does that follow? Do you follow that, Sister Ania? So far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then when I have the tech over here, this set of data is also profound as well, correct? I can see that if you find one thing in common, then that automatically eliminates that they have nothing in common.
Correct.
And if I find one thing in common, it's possible that there's more than one thing in common. If I find two things in common, then that eliminates the choice that there is only one thing in common. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So once I find two things in common, now the sky is the limit because there could possibly be 3. And if I find 3, there's possibly 4. And if there's 4, then there's possibly 5. For the mathematician, this is called mathematical induction. You prove one point, and if you can prove what they call +1, if you can prove another gradient or another step in mathematical induction, now once you prove that, it's like, okay, if I prove that, let's see if I can go one more step. So there could be hundreds of things in common between the Church of Scientology and the teachings of Most High Elijah Muhammad, correct?
Mhm.
It's possible.
Yes, sir.
But it's up to the student to do the study to determine that. When an individual criticizes the minister for having a study the tech, or they say what he's doing is wrong, what they're actually saying is that they have not studied either one.
Right.
So what they're saying is, they're saying the minister's incorrect. But what they're really saying is, they're saying that they have not done their study.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
And that's the same process that takes place in the study tech. When you don't clear your words and you blow in that cycle of action, you blame the teacher.
Mhm.
So the individuals that criticize the minister, what they're really admitting is that they themselves don't study.
True. Okay.
Because if they studied the teachings that they have, and if they at least took the time to read the text to possibly learn something new and follow the words of the Most High Elijah Muhammad, Message to the Black Man, page 90, in order for you to prove that in order to prove that your religion is true and right, you must study all religions in the scripture. Well, if you didn't study the text, that means you're not following the instructions of the Most High Elijah Muhammad. And that's why you criticize the minister. But what you're really doing is you're bearing witness that you haven't really studied either one. So, Sister Anya, does that make sense now?
Yes, sir. It was making sense before, but I got interrupted, so
Okay.
it took
Okay.
me. And then when I came back to it, you had already completed what you
Okay.
were saying.
All right.
But I'm so glad I did ask you to go over it, because in that was a question that I had in the beginning, which I didn't ask because it wasn't really related to the tech.
Mm-hmm.
But the concepts are the same.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned it when you said when people disagree with the minister, and this involves different branches of Islam
Mm-hmm.
and other branches that feel that if you're a nation of Islam, you're not a true Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as you were talking, it gave me the approach that I need to take,
Mm-hmm.
which is to look for something that we have in common.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're going on the premise that there's nothing in common,
Exactly.
that we're totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they're just claiming that we're wrong means that they haven't studied what we study.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably don't know too much about what they claim that they do, that they're studying.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. Yes, sir.
All praise due to Allah. I'm gonna try to find this in the introduction to the Holy Qur'an, but there's a part there where it talks about revelation given to different people.
Mhm.
And it says that the revelation is given at different points in time, depending upon the problems that are contemporary to that time and the people's ability to comprehend what was revealed at that time. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So through time, religion has been revealed on a gradient level. This is in the introduction to the Holy Qur'an. I'll try to find it while we're talking, but it just happened to pop back in my head. Spiritual messages are revealed through messengers based on the problems of that time, based on the level of comprehension at that time. And where some are making their mistakes is they're in the mindset of the religion based on that time, but they're using it in present time.
Mm.
So they're using the Islam itself is not incorrect, but the method of application is outdated. It's similar to having a prescription that has gone beyond its expiration date. You don't take a medication beyond its expiration date, number one. And number two, the Islam has to be contemporary with the time period based
Of
on the
course.
problem of
Oh,
that
the
time.
time, of course.
But when you look back in the past, they didn't have problems with crack cocaine and they didn't have problems. What we're dealing with in present time, that method of Islam, and I'm going to say this as my opinion, that Islam's not strong enough to deal with the problems of this time. This Islam had to be prescribed to us in a specific dosage. In medicine, they call it the six rights: the right medication, the right dosage, the right time, the right route, the right documentation, and the right person. So when the Savior came, he had to study us, and he was like a spiritual doctor. He had to give us the prescription based on our sickness. That Islam doesn't solve our problem. If it did, we would have been free a long time ago. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Sometimes I go down these paths and then I forget how we got there. Sister Sharon, I see your hand up, and then I see Sister Ania.
Okay, so I just have a quick question. So you use what you called, I believe, set theorem, is that correct term? To give an example of looking for commonalities that exist. Is if the person weren't a mathematician that looked at that, could logic have been used to arrive at commonalities that exist as well? Could you have arrived at that? Because mathematics is based on logic, right? Everything is logical about mathematics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so pose the sample that you gave us as a set theorem logically. Give me the logical equivalent to what
Okay. Sister Sharon, are you familiar with Venn diagrams?
a little bit.
Okay. So if I take two circles, I take two circles and I join those two circles together. Okay, so let's say one circle is the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard, and we say another circle can be the teachings of the Most High Elijah Muhammad.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we could say, if we had these two totally separate, that they have nothing in common, correct? Okay.
Yes.
But now, let's say I join these two circles together. So when you deal with logic, then you have what's called set operations. So if I say this and this together, if there's something that they have in common, that's called an intersection.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Okay, that's an intersection. If I bring these two things together, so the area in between where the circles,
It's
and
what they share.
for the metaphysicians, it's called the vesica Pisces. It's the place where the two circles join together. It also represents the womb, but that's another topic. Now, if I bring these two circles together and they have nothing in common, then that's called disjoint.
Okay.
They have nothing in common. So if we look at it logically, there's really only 4 or 5 options or 4 or 5 ways to look at a thing. And as soon as you find one thing in common, then that automatically disproves that there is nothing
in common. Exactly. Okay. I'm with you. I didn't mean to take you off your thing.
No. I just wish I could
the-
have. I wish I could have had something where I could have drawn it so we could see it.
I use my hands.
Yeah. So draw
okay.
your two circles. Use a Venn diagram because then, and this would be something maybe we do at another time. You can do what's called indexed, what they call it in set theory, where you have more than one circle. So we could say, what does the Bible have in common with the Church of Scientology, which has in common with Islam? And then we can prove that mathematically using the same concepts. But that will be something we would do down the road. And I'd have to have diagrams so we could see it, because I don't want anyone to be
You have the
confused.
whiteboard. You know, you could use that, brother.
You know what? I could, but that would take us way far off what our topic would be. I'll make that. I'm gonna write that down. That's an assignment. Sister Sharon just gave me an assignment. So,
that's kind of exciting because this allows for a different way to say the same thing and a different way to see the same thing. I know it can become a thing all in itself, but it also because that was part of that was what I tried to do with ChatGPT. It's like what does the Bhagavad Gita and Islam have in common? What are the commonalities? Like, show me what are the commonalities. Then, depending on what the answer is, then you can question that. But it's pretty much doing the same thing as looking for what is in common, and you're looking for a method by which you can check for what is in common, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
cool. Thank you for that.
No, you're very welcome. When you look at the Bhagavad Gita, and this will just be very, very brief. The Bhagavad Gita is a story about Arjuna speaking to Krishna, right? For those that have studied the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is having a conversation with Arjuna. Arjuna is supposed to go to war with his family members, and he's fighting. I believe his opponent is called Duryodhana. But the thing is, the story of the Bhagavad Gita, it's told as a battle that takes place on a certain country or a certain land, but it is representing the battle that takes place within.
Right.
Because there's no coincidence. Arjuna, and I think now I could be wrong on this part, but the language that our family in India speak, I think it's called Punjabi, I think. But when you define the word Arjuna, one of the meanings for Arjuna means to be clear. Arjuna speaking to Krishna, if you want to translate that into our teachings, is the same thing as us speaking with our self-accusing spirit or the God within. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the same concept as our study guides, the self-accusing spirit. But when you look at, because you got to keep in mind, all the prophets that came, and this is based on what Minister Farrakhan has taught us, they all given a portion of the truth out of the al-Kitab, or the mother of the book, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So all of the truths are the same, but they use different language, different symbolism at different time periods, because Allah says in the Holy Qur'an, each messenger has to speak the language of his people.
Yes. Yeah.
So even though when you look at Zoroaster, and you look at Zoroastrianism, and you look at the Baha'i faith, which was given to us through Baha'u'llah, when you look at Buddhism, it would appear that they're all speaking a different religion. But if you look just at like X and Y, if you look at the value of what they're teaching, they're all teaching one message. And this is why the ancient text of the Vedas, it says that wisdom is one, but the wise know it by many names. What makes our teaching just a little different is that in rule number 3 of our 13 rules of instruction, it says that the lessons that our Savior gave us is the fulfillment of all of it. How? Because it says that we have to teach the new converts that the lessons that we've received is the fulfillment. Well, in order for us to teach that our lessons is the fulfillment of all the religions in the scriptures, we have to study all the religions in the scriptures. Otherwise, you can't prove something that you haven't studied, right? Make sense? If I don't have any evidence, how can I prove something? In order for me to have evidence, I have to investigate. So when a person criticizes and makes statements, that shows they've done no investigation.
Emotional.
Okay. But thank you for that, Sister Sharon. And I'm gonna put together, with the help of Allah, a nice little presentation using logic.
Yeah.
And that is actually how I formulate the Zoom meetings. I use what's called discrete mathematics. I use proof theory. So whatever I share with the believers, I've already proven it mathematically. I know the mathematics already agrees.
You said there were 4 ways that you could look at a thing. And I want to write down the 4 because I want to start looking at things in multiple ways. So name the 4 ways, please.
4 ways what?
four ways that a person could look at something. You said there are four ways.
You can either look from the perspective that there's nothing in common.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Nothing in common. Yeah.
And in mathematics, that's called an empty set. They have nothing in common. They have at least one thing in common, but there could be others. They have only one thing in common, and that's called the uniqueness theorem, if I'm not mistaken.
Only one thing.
And then there's another thing that says they could have everything in common, but that means you've studied both sides. And I think at this point, only one person has accomplished that. And it ain't Brother Lukman. Does that follow, Sister Sharon?
Yeah, so the only one thing in common is called, what is that called in mathematics?
When you have only one thing in common, I think it's called the uniqueness theorem. It's a backward E with an exclamation point. That's the symbol.
Ah.
Okay.
Uniqueness.
When you have at least one thing in common, it's called existential import, if I'm not mistaken. In the logic, it's a backward E. When all things are in common, it's called the existential quantifier. That's what it is. When all things are in common, the symbol is an upside down A, and that's called the universal quantifier. But I with the help of Allah, I'll put together a nice little, because if we understand that, then every time the minister speaks, every time we read the messenger's teaching, now we know how to not just recite, but we can prove it. And that's why the Most High Elijah Muhammad, no one ever got that $10,000 from him, because he could prove everything he was teaching, right?
Yes, that's right.
And the minister, no one's ever got the $10,000 from the minister either, have they?
No.
And if you want to study sound logic, study mathematics and then study the minister's lectures, and you'll see there's a mathematical structure that undergirds the minister's words. You'll see proof theory in action. With the help of Allah, I could take you step by step on how to write a mathematical proof and then show you how the minister teaches exactly. And I'm not saying he does that. That's the way he does it. For him, it's just as natural as breathing, because he's using a mathematical theology. But we can show that the structure of the minister's lecture agrees 100% with proof theory in the higher levels of what's called discrete mathematics. So Sister Sharon, stay on me about that, and I will put something together at a future time on that. Sister Anya. You're on mute. There you go, Sister Anya.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah for all of that, and for going back over the four proofs on the set theory. And that all ties in when you started off with, I think you gave the word mathala, and that was the meaning of parable.
Parable, the Arabic word for parable.
Arabic word for parable. And in that word is the word that starts with the word math.
Math.
And the mathematical proofs. And so I looked at the word problem and broke that down into problems. So if we take our problem book, and instead of looking at it as being so much as it's, oh, this is an issue, it's a problem there, oh gosh, but look at it more as something for us to probe into, delve into, explore, and then come up with the solutions for. And so I took that back to when you talked about depending upon the problems of that time, being based on the level of comprehension at that time. And so in former times, the people were given the truth, but it was given to them in the form of a parable. which they did not necessarily understand the full definition of it, often was overlooked, or they gave their own interpretation to it. And from there, we come up with all the different branches of religion that we have today based on their own concepts of what those parables meant. And we could say that the parable is baby language, and that we're taught not to speak baby language anymore, and we don't teach our children fables and fairy tales anymore. We teach them the reality, the truth. So we take the parable and we teach them the reality and the truth of that when they are babies, so that they grow up with their critical thinking based on truth and how to solve problems. So that's what I got out of all of that. So that we're in the Nation of Islam, we deal with the reality of the parable, not the fable. Yes,
How do you say problem in Spanish?
Problema.
Problema, right? Okay.
Problema.
So, Sister Anya, here's what I want you to do. Write down the word problem. Just like you did, you separated the word probe, right?
Yes, sir.
Next to the word probe, write the word Lemma.
L-E-M.
Lemma. Probe, lemma. Lemma is a term that's used in propositional logic. You're probing the lemma. So study those two words together, and you're gonna get some cake. You're gonna see something in that.
Yes, sir.
The word lemma is actually a mathematical term. So probe and lemma. You're probing the lemma. Lemma is when you deal with in propositional logic, and you deal with corollaries, you're dealing with if-thens and biconditionals. A lemma or a lemma is a mathematical term. And right when you said probe and you cut it in half, I said probe, lemma. I said, I got to study that. There's something there.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for that, Sister Anya.
Praise be to Allah.
Sister Mary Jesus is with us. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Patricia. You're on mute if you're trying to speak, Sister Patricia. If you're away from your computer, we'll catch you when you come back. Go ahead, Brother Isa. You're on mute.
Yes, sir. Brother, from what you first said, and then I listened to what Sister Sharon and Sister Anya said, it made me think of the messenger said that the enemy was only given one problem book, but there are 60,000. And from what you said, those four things, that they could have one thing in common, or they can have all these things in common. And so now we're, because I used to be afraid of math. But when you explain that put in my mind that, wait a minute, I don't have to be afraid of that. Because for the longest, I'm telling you, it was science I love, but math, I was just like, because I couldn't relate it to myself. When you said that, it gave me a greater understanding, but I thought about the 60,000 problem book. So, I think Sister Anya just said it, you could look at it as a problem, but more so, you could look at it now that you can take it and get the solution. But I just wanted to say that real quick, but I'm going to go ahead and digress because I want to get to your subject, brother, because yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we're going to start with the minister's clip. We're going to do the PowerPoint, and we'll try to get through as much as we can. And at the very end, and please, someone remind me, just in case I forget, I have another clip of the minister I want us to view. So let us go here first. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're dealing with the rust on the heart. Obviously, we're not really talking about real rust on the real heart, so it has to be allegory. And we are the discussion tonight is going to be based on Surah 83, ayat number 14. So a quick overview is, how can we use Surah 83:14 as a formula to understand the science of the mind? How could resurrection be the equivalent to confronting the deeds from our past? We might be able to touch on that, but we're going to probably get more into that at another time, when we can see the relationship between the concept of confronting with regards to our lessons. What is the Mizan, which is also called the balance? This we probably won't touch on tonight. This will be at a later time as well. And the main thing is, how can we study these concepts and gain a better understanding of ourselves? So what we want to do is we want to connect, again, as always, the Holy Qur'an and the tech. Of course, Allah tells us in the Holy Qur'an that He's given us a book explaining all things. And so that has to also include the tech. So when you look at, if you have your Holy Qur'an handy and you go to the introduction and you go to part 5, where it says life after death, we are starting from the paragraph that is titled Resurrection in This Life. Does everyone have the Quran handy? If not, don't worry about it. But if you have the whole Quran, you can follow, then that's great as well. But I think I did put it in here as well. But now this ayat, we're going to expand it out so we can get the context. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It says, do they not think that they will be raised again to a mighty day? The day when men will stand before the Lord of the worlds. Nay, surely the record of the wicked is in the prison. And what will make thee know what the prison is? It is a written book. Woe on that day of judgment, and none gives the lie to it, but every exceeder of limits, every sinful one. When our messages are recited to him, he says stories of those of yore. Nay, rather, what they earned is rust upon the hearts. Make sense? Everyone follow?
Yes.
Okay. So what we hope to show tonight and prove, scripture and science, is that whenever we sin, specifically when we lie, in telling a lie, it actually has a physical effect on our brain. And this has been proven using the study of neuroscience. Whenever we sin, but specifically when we lie, it produces a chemical reaction that begins to deteriorate the brain. Does everyone follow that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so here is where we will go into the clip of the minister. It's a short clip, might be 30 seconds to a minute, but it's a good clip. It's a very good clip. Let's see, it is here. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll go here.
I learned that strength is not size.
That's right. That's what I.
Strength is mind. And if, coach, you only deal with the body and not with the mind, you will never cultivate the tremendous power that is in every human being, because I am not exceptional. I want you to know that I know I am not exceptional. But my mind, see, I will move something that's in my way because I determine it shall move. And because I believe that it can be moved, this is why you may be afraid of me this morning. But Farrakhan feared nothing or no one but God.
All right, that's where we're going to start. Now, in that, there's three keys. There's many keys, but there's three keys in that align very well with what they teach in the church. In the church, they teach be, do, and have, right? Those that have studied the text, be, do, and have are very, very prevalent, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But
Yes,
now,
sir.
be, do, and have, we can find in the Holy Qur'an. Could we say that the minister was saying kun fayakun?
Yes.
Yes.
He says to a thing, be, and it is. Yes?
And it is.
Okay. Could we say that the minister is the doer of what he intends?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And then in the Holy Quran, Allah says that man can have nothing except what he strives for, correct?
Correct.
Yes, sir.
So in that small little clip, we saw be, do, and have in the person of a man, didn't we not?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That, for us, is the standard that we strive to close the gap to get to, correct?
Yes.
Okay. To get to that point, we got some rust that we got to remove. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sister Anya.
Well, I guess I just had a cognition,
Okay.
and it's going back to the dealing with those who say that we're not true Muslims, and confronting people's belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And what the minister just said about the power of his mind, when he determines a thing, then he can bring it about, because he's not saying that he's all powerful, but the power of his mind makes it able to happen. And so that it just clicked in my mind, oh my goodness, there's no need at all to worry, or not, I won't use the word worry, but you don't have to go there with anybody over their belief system.
Mm-hmm.
Or what they're trying to get me to believe, okay? Because if a friend of mine said to me long time ago, if it's true to you, what is true to you or to a person, then that makes it true. It's because it's their truth.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it's true. So if they want to believe a certain thing, that Allah is capable of doing a certain thing, and it goes against the grain of what we're taught in the Nation of Islam, then that's fine, because if their mind can conceive that Allah can do that thing, then Allah can do that thing. As far as they're concerned, Allah can do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And their mind makes it possible that event may not happen in their lifetime, but at some point down the road, But Allah will probably be able to do that thing because Allah is constantly evolving. So we don't really have the right to discount what this other person may say that Allah is capable of doing, just because that's not what we're taught. Because if your mind can conceive it, then you can achieve it. So that just gave me another way to approach, things to say to people when there's a difference in how we perceive the word.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Anya. That is why in the tech we don't invalidate, nor do we evaluate.
Mm-hmm.
And also, along the lines of what you just said, it reminds me of a quote. Years ago, we would have to start up our computer. And when we started up our computer at the job, it's going back to 1993. Every morning, there would be a quote on our computer. And I remember this one morning, the quote was, "The man who says it can't be done should never interrupt the one that's doing it."
Yes.
Come on.
And that
That's
always,
right.
and that always stayed in my mind. Go ahead, Sister Denise.
Yes, sir. Boy, that's amazing. We're talking about this because this is what I read the weekend, what you just played. And I was saying that I'm at a point where I just want you, like the Million Man March, the minister, he didn't say everybody go to the mosque. He said go back to your church or wherever you say you believe and do something. He was saying, where is your faith in whatever belief you believe? You know, that you can make a change. I mean, or have you to yourself, or you need to make a change. And I said, whoa, you know, I said that's what I want to know. Because they fought the Crusades and all of this, but I'm saying, what's up between me and you, one of my family members? Yeah, it is dangerous when you auditing them. They have a tendency want to bring up some dirt or whatever. And I say to my husband, I say, I don't know why when I see stuff like that where people bring up dirt about you, what you used to be, that when Malcolm, that movie Malcolm X, when he said, who name on that? And he said, Malcolm Little. He said, my name Malcolm X. And I said, oh, okay. I see what you're saying, because it gives you a mindset when you are somebody new. Your thoughts. It's not new, but your thoughts have changed. And I just want you to change right where you are. You don't have to come over here. Just make a difference in people's lives where you are. I mean, because you the one holding on to that title, whatever it is. But what are you doing? Or are you there for somebody else? When is your life gonna show up? Who you really are? Or you gonna be in the shadow of somebody else? I mean, and that's what they came and messed with me, Brother Lukman. I was minding my own business, doing my therapy. And they came to me. Now I don't fight. But if I'm in one, let's throw down the way I see it. I mean, if we're gonna spiritually, I'm saying if we're gonna do this, you know. So I thought about that. The minister said that's what frightens people. When you really believe in God. When you and God and you and Allah, He talks to you, you know, when you walk, He walks, you can feel the spirit. And I was thinking about that rush of the heart. Is that what you said?
The what?
About the heart. Did you say the rush of it?
The rust.
R-U-S-K?
R-U-S-T.
Oh, okay. So it's not R-U-S-H. Because I was saying that looks like a heart attack. You know? That was a heart attack to me, you know. So, yeah, we need to study. You absolutely right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Denise. Sister
Yes,
Angela.
sir.
Okay, yes, sir. So I think I have a cognition also, like Sister Anya. It seems that I think I'm starting to understand how I got my gold seal, and it was really not even planned. It's just that I took somebody who wanted to start the course. I took a sister to New York, and I just happened to have those wins with me, the stories that they wrote. Now I'm seeing it in a whole nother light, and I probably would kind of advise us all to pick a family member and audit them. Because if you can get through it, you really, especially one that you know got may have a little problem with you. Because if you can get through it, I see the ability to rise above emotions into the thinking of God, and that's what the rust represents for me. Rust for Sister Angela is not being able to come out of everybody else's valence, even mine, and not the A-tone like Brother Ishmael taught today. And he really taught. And he was saying some of the prayer, and he said some of the notes, and he was striking that A-tone with his voice. And that's it. When we look at the scales of music, I mean, you can get close and you might be a C5 or whatever the case may be. There is a set A-tone that we have to turn ourselves to. So I see the rust in this case, even what Sister Denise just said, because I'm telling you, and I was a brand new auditor. This was just probably a month after I got my certificate, and sitting there hearing a family member, say stuff about me, and even not just about me, but to see the pain that they were in. My youngest sister, I'm so thankful she didn't open her eyes because I was crying more than her about her engram that she had with her children's father. So I think that should probably be a goal, because it's almost like it's almost being cleared of certain, especially family things that might bound us, and it can bring us closer, because it absolutely brought me and my sisters closer.
Praise be to Allah. You're saying it's like processing from both directions.
Right, absolutely.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Angela.
Praise be to Allah.
All right, let me go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So now let's go into the key points. The two main things that we're going to be touching on, actually it's going to be one thing, but there's 2 points over the next couple of weeks we're going to touch on. Coming from section number 5 in the Maulana Muhammad Ali translation, titled Life After Death, you have the one part that's titled The Resurrection in This Life. Our last Zoom meeting, we dealt with the Book of Deeds, and then we're going to deal with the balance, or the Mizan. In the resurrection in this life, this is the statement that Maulana Muhammad Ali makes. He says, every evil deed leaves its impress on the human mind. And then he provides he provides the actual quote, or the ayat, which is one we started with, Surah 83, ayat 14. I believe in the last session we answered the question, what is the prison? Could it be a representation of the reactive mind? I think we could all agree that the prison that is spoken of in the Holy Qur'an, which is a written book, could in fact be an allegory for the reactive mind. And then here's where we are going to make our first marriage. So when we deal with the actions of the sinful and the lying, coming from the perspective of Islam, could these concepts be equivalent in the text as the overt, the justification, the withhold, and the miswithhold? Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Could
Okay.
you repeat that? Could you repeat that?
Could
Yes,
the behaviors of where Allah describes sinfulness and lying and all those behaviors that because none of us are clear yet. So in some way, shape, form, or fashion, we are still wrestling with these things. If we translate that into the language of the tech, we're dealing with overts, justifications, withholds, and missed withholds. Here is why this is so relevant and important, at least in my humble opinion. Because each one of us are wrestling with certain things in our life based on our past and our childhood, correct?
Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Okay. And we understand now that these things that we suffer from are based on, when you deal with those four flows, they're rooted in what was done to us or what we observe being done between other people. So technically, we could say that when we are falling short, when we sin, we fall short. We could say on one level, we're dramatizing the valence of someone else on our time track. Couldn't we say that?
Absolutely.
Okay. But now we can't use that as a justification to keep doing it. So
That's
we can't justify, we can't justify, well, that's just the way I am. And, that's, it's based on what happened to me. So that
Make
gives me
evil fair seeming.
say what?
Make evil fair seeming.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That would be deceptive intelligence. We're making evil fair seeming. Okay. So when you deal with it from the perspective of the tech, it's like what we're already suffering from. Now we can study it from a mathematical perspective and see it as an equation to be solved. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
sir.
So when you look at, and I won't go too far into this part, but you have what's called the overt motivator sequence. So a person will do a certain act, they'll do a certain thing, but in doing that, a justification is used so that the person can continue doing it without feeling guilty. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
so-and-so did it to me, so I'm doing it to someone else.
I've heard them say it.
Okay.
Mhm.
So when you look at all these things are interconnected. You have the overt, which is equivalent to a sin. So we're two different words, really speaking about the same thing. And we're going to actually get into the definition based on what was given. The withhold is what we do that no one knows about. And I always fall back on this. I remember Brother Abdul Sharif Muhammad, way back in the 90s, he spoke about what's called a little black box. And he said a little black box represents what we do that no one knows about except us and Allah. So the little black box could be the equivalent of the withhold. The missed withhold is what we've done that we think someone knows about, but we're not 100% sure. So a missed withhold could be the same as having a guilty conscience. Does that make sense?
That's a dangerous question.
Okay. So Brother Eric, I did see your hand up. Go ahead, brother.
No, continue. You're doing pretty good so far.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually pull up the textbook definitions, and then we're going to marry them with some ayats from the Holy Qur'an to show that we have the concept of overts and withholds in the Holy Qur'an.
Well, I appreciate that. Could you please?
Right, here we go. There we go. Okay. Withholds, miss withholds. All right. So this is what you will find in the Holy Quran, section number 5. And it says, the different words which stand for the resurrection are in some sense also applicable to this life. The rising of the dead is sometimes their spiritual resurrection, which was to be brought about by the preaching of the holy prophet. The day of decision also signifies the triumph of truth and the vanquishment of falsehood. Now, I want to, as we're going through this, I want to see if we can draw some parallels to what we're dealing with in the text and see if we can take this information from the Holy Qur'an, but make it applicable to present time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, because the day of decision also signifies the triumph of truth and the vanquishing of falsehood. Really, Sister Angela, Sister Peggy, if you could back me up on this, and Brother Eric, wouldn't processing be equivalent to the vanquishment of falsehood?
Knocking the brains out of it. Yes, sir.
All right. So then it says the day of reckoning is equally the reckoning in this life, and so is the day of requital. The law of the requital of good and evil affects this life as much as the next. A complete manifestation taking place when the limitations of the body of clay are removed by death. Now, if we look at this, limitations of the body of clay are removed by death. Could we say that processing is the death of the aberrated individual?
You could say that.
Okay, makes sense, right?
Yeah.
It's like the minister said, he didn't say putting on the new man, he said putting in the new man, didn't he? Does anyone remember that?
I thought it was putting on the
Put
new
on.
man.
Was it putting on the new
I
man?
thought it was on.
Me too.
Okay.
Put it back.
Huh?
I said, put it back, and then make everybody.
Okay, so now, but here's the thing. If we're putting on or putting in the new man, that means the old person is being removed, correct?
That's
Right.
correct.
Right.
So really, when you look at aberration, could we say that aberration is dealing with the limitations of the body of clay, meaning our physical messed body?
Yes.
And once these limitations are removed, limitations meaning the things that limit us, the demon circuits, as they are called in Dianetics. In Holy Qur'an, Surah 114, the whispering of the slinking devil. It is said that this becomes the starting point for a new and a higher life. Make sense?
Right. That's what we want.
It is a law that works every moment and will not come into operation on a particular day. Even paradise and hell are spoken of as originating with this life. Hence, God is repeatedly described as quick in reckoning, meaning that his reckoning is working every moment. Every evil deed leaves its impress on the human mind, says, nay, rather what they earned is rust upon their hearts. So that the consequence follows as soon as the deed is done. Now, I want to stop right there for a quick minute. The consequence follows as soon as the deed is done. As soon as we lie, there's an immediate reaction in the brain. And when you look at this statement, what they earned is rust upon their hearts. I'll give you a real quick snippet here, but the word heart in Arabic also means the mind. So what they earn is rust upon their hearts. If you look at this ayat like an equation, it's rust upon the mind. Meaning every time we commit a sin and every time we lie, it's like putting a coat of rust on our brain. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What
Go
does
ahead,
rust?
go ahead, Brother Eric.
I'm glad you came back with that word again, which is rust.
Mhm.
When we look into the definition of it, there is one very particular that always caught my attention. In definition number 4, any growth, habit, influence, or agency tending to injure, deteriorate, or impair the mind, character, abilities, usefulness, etc. So in other words, that word, if it's a misunderstood, and we know what a misunderstood word can do. So it brings everybody in the wrong direction. That's number 1. And as I listen to all the conversation. And there is no doubt in my mind that we got some misunderstood. And those misunderstood bring us into fraction. And those fraction, we were talking about the difference between the different civilization, like the Chinese, the Korean, or whatnot. So we are fractionalized, and you bring that to circle you were talking about. So in this sense, we are really practicing the mathematical theology. Mathematical theology. Mathematical does not mean mathematics, but you use the principles of mathematics to get to the conclusion. And that conclusion we call the result, right? Because in everything that we're doing is the result that counts. Does it matter what direction you started or what direction you go? If we can get to the same conclusion, that means it is the right way. So one who speaks Spanish may be speaking a language you don't understand. So it blows your mind. And that one come and speak French. That one is speaking Chinese while we're talking about the same thing. See? So now in our misunderstanding, we can go to war with another person that is talking about the same thing. So this is why I'm saying what is being said and done here is very valuable. That we have to now bring our mind in tune with the meaning, the proper meaning of words. Because L1 Hubbard gave us a slew of things that the misunderstood word do to us. And in fact, that can cause us to abandon everything that we do in life. Just a word. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you, Brother Eric.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sir.
When you look at rust from a chemical standpoint, in chemistry, rust is a form of what's called oxidation. And it's considered to be what's called slow oxidation. So when you deal with the science of fire, an explosion would be instant oxidation. You strike a match, that's another level of oxidation. If you had metal that was rusting, if you had the tools, you could use the tools to detect that rust actually is giving off very faint heat. So rust actually is a form of burning, but it's a form of burning that takes place over a prolonged period of time.
That's true.
Called oxidation. Now, interesting thought is in our dietary, with regards to our dietary habits, if we're eating the wrong foods, we are producing what's called oxidation in the body. Oxidation in the body really is equivalent to the slow burning of our body. Does that make sense? When we're not eating properly, we are doing to our body what certain chemicals might do to metal, except that we're rusting our body over the time of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. Okay? When we look at this concept, the rust on the heart, now we're talking about another type of burning that's taking place in the mind, which actually can be understood through the science, through what we call neuroscience, that the lie is to the brain the same way certain chemicals will rust metal. The lie is doing the same thing to us physically. Go ahead, Sister Sharon.
So I believe I heard you say that the minute we lie, we cause damage to our brain. But I put it to you that the minute we think we do the damage to our brain. Because Minister Farrakhan said, wait a minute, Jesus said, if you think the deed in your heart, you've already committed the sin. So thought really preceded the deed. Before we lied, we call that the deed, right? So it really happens one step before that. Then the minute we think the thought or have the inclination towards it, the damage has really been done, hasn't it? Or has it?
Well, let's see if we can find something in the Holy Qur'an that will lead us in a certain direction. There is a verse in the Holy Qur'an, and I'm gonna pause this. Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so it says, those who avoid the great sins and the indecencies, but the passing idea. Surely thy Lord is liberal and forgiving. Now, when you look at that footnote, 32a, it says, now the Arabic word for passing idea is lamam. And it means I alighted at it and approached it without falling into it. Hence, I render the word as a passing idea which leaves no impression on the mind. Such an idea is forgiven, for a mortal cannot be proof against it, but this by no means amounts to an intention or an attempt to commit the sin. So now let's look back at what you said originally. So based on what I understand, based on the ayat, is all of us have crazy thoughts, right? Unless you're clear. Unless you're from the mother plane, all of us got crazy stuff going on in our head. But sometimes a crazy thought comes in and we can let it go. We don't let it stay, right? It's when that idea comes in and then we start to feed on it. How I would see it, Sister Sharon, is once we start feeding on it, now it's starting to cause a little rust, a little corrosion. But if it comes in and we let it go, it doesn't stay long enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, the passing idea, the Arabic word being lamam, means it alighted to it without falling into it. That word in Arabic is synonymous with lock scanning. Sister Peggy, Sister Angela, you've done lock scanning before, right?
I haven't.
You haven't. Sister Angela, have you done lock scanning before?
All the time.
Okay. So in Surah 53, ayat number 32, where it says the passing idea, isn't that what lock scanning is? You're going through the ideas or the thoughts
Yes, sir.
without staying on any one for a prolonged period of time?
Right.
Okay. So lock scanning in the text, and lock scanning is something I think comes up in Science or Survival. It's not in Dianetics Book 1. Lock scanning comes up in, it might, I think I remember in Handbook for Pre-Clears, huh?
It comes up in book 1.
It does come up in Book 1? Oh, no, you're right. I think, okay, you're right. I remember it specifically.
Yeah, it's later on. It's right before you do the drills, and that's part of one of the drills.
Okay. But the fact is that the concept of lock scanning and Surah 53, ayat 32 actually harmonize. Okay. So Sister Sharon, does that kind of clarify it a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Sister Peggy, I saw you with your hand up.
Yes. So where it says, go back to what you said, it alights. Wait a minute. So does that mean that it lands on it like a fly lights on something?
It lights on it without staying there too long.
Yeah, things gone.
Touch and move. Touch and move.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you're really actually just seeing where you're gonna go. That's what you seeing where you're gonna go.
Okay. All right, let's get back to it. See how much more we can get back into. Go here. Okay. Play from current slide. Come on, kick in. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so it says, and we have made every man's actions to cling to his neck and we shall bring forth to him on the day of resurrection a book which he will find wide open. Now, we mentioned this before, but we'll mention it again here. It's interesting. It says, and we have made every man's actions to cling to his neck. Now, neuroscience is proving in this time period that when people suppress anger, oftentimes they have thyroid issues, which is found where?
In your neck.
Found in the neck. So what happens is, one thing L. Ron Hubbard taught back in the 50s, he said that wherever you have these points of problems or sicknesses or diseases or aches and pains, that's where the engram is being stored. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. And this is one of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why. And I want to tread lightly on this, but this is just medical information. This is something I've gotten from reading different books with regards to emotion and the hormonal system. Oftentimes, women will have problems that are connected with the womb. Fibroids, ovarian cysts, things of that nature, because oftentimes that's where the trauma took place. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm not gonna go any further in that one. But you understand what I'm trying to say, correct?
No, I didn't get it. You start again. It's a hormonal.
Well, what I'm saying is when you deal with sisters having issues that are specific to the womb, oftentimes that's connected to traumatic events that took place in childhood.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead, Sister Angela.
You know, two things. I did a little bit of research on thyroid because it is happening at a faster rate now in the Black community, Black women in particular. I know processed food is one of the biggest contributors to thyroid disease.
Mm-hmm.
And I linked the processed food to, I guess, like a weaker, how can I say? A weaker version of the truth. I'm kind of making it symbol, like if somebody.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because you know, I don't really like third parties, and I'm thankful to study the hidden third party.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you get things in the third party, you don't get the whole of the situation. You get a processed portion of it. So that's linked to me for people that don't study and they only get in somebody's version or something. And I'm not even saying the minister. I'm talking about somebody that they talk to on the phone or somebody at the mosque. So I link those two together. Also, since it's Christmas, Merry Christmas. Like I like A Christmas Carol that Jim Carrey is in. I like the animation of that movie, but Scrooge's partner, Farley. You remember when his ghost came and he had that thing around his neck and it was holding him down because of all the sins and the greed and the chase of money he was doing? It's almost like a halter around his neck with chains. And he was trying to tell Ebenezer Scrooge, you know, you got to change your life because you're going to end up like this. And then it brought me to a brother Jabril. I think he taught on purgatory one time. And purgatory can be in the mind of all of us depending on how aberrated we are.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't get out of these thoughts because it has become a part of our person that we created this purgatory within and we're stuck. That's what we call stuck on the time track. Just wanted to add that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Angela.
Yes, ma'am. That's all.
Somebody have something? All right.
Brother Lukman,
Yes.
it's Sister Deborah. I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
needed Sister Angela to repeat what she said about purgatory again,
Okay.
being in the mind.
Yes, ma'am. Brother Jabril was teaching on purgatory, and I actually got notes of it. I had to, because like you, I was record keeping that day. And he was saying how purgatory can be in the mind where we don't really understand the teachings we say, but we don't go study ourselves. And to add insult to injury, on top of that, we got all of this built up pain within. So we are not, you know, clear enough to get from point A to point B. The purgatory that we set up in the mind becomes our reality, because that's where you're going to me, Brother Lukman. As a person thinks, so is he and she. So that purgatory in the mind, yeah, Dante speak, absolutely. So it can become so real. And thankfully we do have auditors, because we're gonna have to be like crossing guards in a minute. People are not gonna be able to get to the other side of this thing unless they have some guidance. So it's, you know, the way Allah got this thing going down, it's gonna work itself out. It's just gonna take some purgatory. It's gonna take some fire too, but inshallah we get to it. Did I answer your question, Sister Deborah?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Denise.
Brother Lukeman, I think the scriptures talks about speak as though whatever it was that you want has already happened. And I was saying how that I was trying to do a family reunion when my grandmother was here. May Allah be pleased with her. And she was telling me my family has never had a family reunion without fight. She said, because I don't care what happened. At the end, somebody gonna want to fight. And I said, no, they won't. Not this time. And so she was kind of asking me how was I assured that they wouldn't fight, because they always do it. And I said, because it's time for a change. And I went around talking to everybody, you know, trying to make sure. But when we had a meeting, I had assigned people that diffuses fights. I mean, I don't care how mad you were. You talked it out with somebody and they diffuse you. So your fuse wasn't lit to fight. And so, well, you can't stop anybody from eating pork. I said, well, I got the money. So I'm going to buy what we're going to get most of, which is chicken and non-pork products. It was like, they ain't going to give you their money. I say, yeah, they going to get their money to me, because I ain't never done nothing to them. So they start giving me their money. And I'm just saying how you can just speak things into existence as if it has already happened. And what happened was they didn't fight, because they was asked. So who got into it? They said nobody. They said, what happened? They said, we had a good time, and then he divided all the food for the people that bought all the food. I just stand in line until the last hot dog, beef hot dog, and the last, chicken. Just stay in line, keep going around. But had I not, when my grandmother was talking to me, she said I couldn't change people. That's what she told me. She said, you can't change nobody. I said, but God can. And didn't he share himself with us?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, that's what I read in the Bible. That's what I told her. I said, he shared himself with us. So I got a portion of him in me, huh? I said, well, they're not going to fight. You're not going to eat pork, because pork make you act crazy and stuff. And we just going to have a nice time. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly, Brother Lukman. At first, I wasn't scared to death, but thank God we wear long dresses and stuff, because my knees was surely shaking, because I kind of stepped out there. But I wanted to prove to them that it could be done when we all come together.
Sister
You know,
Denise,
what we could do
Denise, you
collectively.
cooking?
Yes, sir. No, sir. Yeah, am I cooking?
Are you doing
It sound like
dishes? I hear some water.
No, sir. You hear some water?
Okay,
No, I'm not.
Am I the only one that hears this?
Yes, sir.
You hearing water?
I hear something in the background.
It's raining where I am. I don't.
Oh,
I'm not
okay. I just want to make sure I wasn't losing it. Okay. So it's raining. You got your window open, Sister Sharon?
Yes, and I didn't mute myself. Just a minute.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't
okay.
losing my mind. That's okay. That's fine.
My window's open too. It's raining.
Nope, I'm still hearing it.
Okay. It sounds like rain.
I hear.
You hear it?
1 second. I gotta find out what the hell this is. There we go. Something in my background clicked down without me touching it. I got some gremlins.
Okay.
I got some gremlins in my computer. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sister Denise.
Okay. Yeah, no, so I was just thinking about saying those things, and your belief in God is sort of like that. That, you know, you may believe he's gonna come, but I may believe he's already here. Okay. We just need to do the thing and see what, because your faith at some point in life has to be tested. You have to be tried. You got to get your receipts. If you understand what I'm saying, because you want to get your receipts from people. You know, so you have to challenge yourself in the come out of the safety zone. I've been safe. I ain't had to challenge nobody. But when my grandmother said, you know, they got problems, I say we all got problems. I say, grandmother, didn't you say that God solves problems? Ain't that what you said? How you know he ain't solving this problem? Because it's a problem, for real. And she kind of looked at me. And so she quit challenging me, and she was the first one there. So I had never done this in my life. But it's like when the minister was saying that he believes so deeply in God, in Allah, that it is a be and it is moment. That you speak things into existence as if it has already happened. There's no doubt in your mind that it won't be. And then I bear witness to that. Now I often use that as be and it is moment, because I had no idea how it was going to turn out. But I wasn't going to let nobody talk me off of my cheese. I mean, you know, it was the mouse and the cheese, you know, and they was trying to get the mouse cheese. I'm just saying a little fairy tale, and they just couldn't talk that mouse off his foot off of that cheese. See, he ain't want to give it up. And he just stood there, you know, but I'm just saying with people. And they stayed firm, but it may be that they haven't studied yet. Are you saying you know everything that goes on in the world? I ain't saying I know, but that I do know. You know, you can speak on what you know. And this is what I'm doing. I ain't trying to say that people are stupid and they can't reason, but I'm saying maybe that's something that we should study more about be and it is, regardless of what we call ourselves, Christian, Muslim, or whatever. Let's see what you can make happen. You know, so that was it, Brother Lukman. Thank you, beloved.
No, thank you, Sister Denise. And that makes total sense. That we should set goals. That principle is found in our lessons where it says, who made Holy Qur'an a Bible? How long ago? Will you tell us why does Islam renew history every 25,000 years? Our people used to write things in advance 25,000 years. And as the minister said, then we walked into what we wrote. Why can't we do the same thing? Why can't we write our history one day in advance? Why can't we write our history 1 week in advance? And everything we write that's going to come into existence, then as every day goes, we bring that into existence. You know, that makes perfect sense to me, Sister Denise. Anyone else before we start to wrap it up? All right, let's touch base on this, and then we will start to land this plane. Let's see. It says, where do we leave off at? Okay, so an action leaves its effect upon man as soon as it's done. Only it is not seen by the human eye, but will be palpably manifest in the form of a wide open book on the day of resurrection. For the veil which covers the eye now, so that it cannot see the finer things, shall be removed. Thou wast indeed heedless of this, but now we have removed from thee thy veil, so thy sight is sharp this day. The law of the requital of good and evil is thus working all the time. Only the consequences cannot be seen by the physical eye, but the finer senses granted at the resurrection will see them clearly on the day when hidden things are manifested. Now, to me, that right there is all describing the concept of processing, where all this stuff has accumulated. You don't quite see it, but in processing, you start to pull back all the things that have occurred over time. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So he says, the action leaves its effect upon man as soon as it is done. It isn't seen by the human eye. So how does the sin and how does the lie affect man immediately? I was gonna pull up some more. I was gonna put some more information on this so we can see specifics, and I'll provide some more receipts, perhaps in our next meeting. But based on what neuroscience says, according to the study of neuroscience, as lying increases, it has a negative effect on the amygdala. Now, if you go back in the study guide number 18, the minister speaks about the amygdala, correct?
Yes, it does.
And the amygdala is a part of the limbic system. It's a part of our mind that deals with, if you look at what the amygdala does, you can draw a parallel between that and the reactive mind. Okay. What happens is this reduces one's ability to feel guilt or shame from lying to the point where lying becomes as easy and effortless as breathing. There's starting to be a chemical process that takes place in the brain that makes it easier and easier to lie. In other words, the self-accusing spirit is being murdered. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Lying produces a stress hormone that begins to deteriorate the brain and brain function. We're going to go more in detail about this in our next Zoom meeting, God willing. But lying will produce trace amounts of stress hormones that begin to deteriorate the brain itself. I'll show this short video clip, and that's where we'll end it. So let me pause this here. There's a reason why I paused it, because I don't want this to become a political video. But there's a lot of research out there showing that when we're talking specific lying, but really any sin, because if we have a certain belief to live a life in a certain way, whenever we go contrary to that, doing things we know we shouldn't be doing, we are setting up a chemistry within ourselves. It is almost as if we are, for every lie we tell, it is a flow zero. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Every lie we tell is like a flow zero, meaning every time we do certain things, we're actually committing an overt against ourselves. Go ahead, Sister Angela.
So when you were playing the video, I went straight to Supreme Wisdom and the wife of the uncle. and her not being able to get up into the storehouse.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking, I believe, with Sister Sharon 4X earlier today, and we were talking about cortisol, one of my favorite subjects.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the scientific side of it. I do also see why it's in Muslim lesson number 1. Have we not learned that our word shall be bond regardless of whom or what? What it does, okay, I don't know where everybody grew up, but you ever notice how almost all liars are identified? And as soon as they come walking up somebody in the crowd will say, "Oh, here comes lying so and so." They're not credible. You know what I'm saying? They're not credible at all. And going back to how we started this, fire coup. You can't say being it is and be a liar because it's too much stuff on the brain. The word has been compromised, so there's no power in the word anymore with the being.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems that the person has created their own cage of lies.
Mm-hmm.
Then check out the movie The Invention of Lying. When Allah says that the devil is a liar, the devil is a liar. Because the more lies that's told, the more devilish the mind becomes. Right? I would check that out because my question is, since we're in 2025 right now, and the president, it was said that he 20 to 30 lies per speech or whatever the case may be. I'm wondering how long did they live back then versus now?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder that.
That's interesting.
And could that shorten our life too? Is that one of the things that making the original people lives shorter? The lies that's being told.
What did you said? You wonder what, Sister Angela? I missed that part.
I wonder. I was wondering, one, did the Caucasian people live longer when they first came among, the righteous people? And I also wonder, is that one reason that we are dying, Black people, at early ages? Could lying be a part of the reason, since it has this type of physical reaction in our body?
That's a good question. Good question.
I don't think it has that effect on them because they're made different anyway. I don't know if he was a liar from the beginning. I don't know if lying damages, dude. It's just being himself.
Wasn't the first devil. See, we got to be clear on this, Sister Peggy. The devil has a mother and father. You know what I'm saying? At least a father, if you understand what I'm saying.
It says Yaqub was the father of the devil, and he did what? He taught the devils to do this devil.
Exactly.
So,
and how long he was 600 years old, wasn't he? Or something to that effect? No, 300 and some change, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah, the messenger told us he's a God.
Absolutely.
So, Sister Peggy, are you still out there?
Yeah, she had her hand off. I don't know. She stepped out.
Yeah, because I want to let her have her questions so we can go ahead and land this.
But I think if you don't mind, I think that's a good place for us to start. If we truly believe that there's power in the word, and are we exercising the word to see what we can manifest? And if we're unable to, then we might want to check not just the aberrations, but how we living and how we eating and how we're being.
Must be true that we understand the word also, because the word is that powerful. Don't we think we have to be better acquainted to it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So who we have? Brother Joseph X. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum salam.
And who was it that invited you to our humble meeting?
Brother Issa Muhammad.
Brother Issa, yes, sir. Good to have you. Good to have you, Brother Joseph. Sister Peggy, where you at? Okay. I'll try to hit another screen. I'll try to hit another point real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. There she is. Sister Peggy, what was your question?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to answer. I had to go pull something off the stove. Okay.
Okay.
My question was, a thought was for people that have Alzheimer's, and I'm not saying that those people just lie. I'm just saying that maybe it's the lying to themselves, that does that count too when you lie to yourself?
Well, I'll say this. Based on a little bit I know about Alzheimer's, and I know some of this actually comes from the reason why we don't use aluminum pots.
Absolutely.
Part of the research shows that when you deal with Alzheimer's and dementia, there is some research that shows that part of that is based on trace amounts of aluminum in the brain tissue. I've also seen where when you look at diabetes, that is a result of sugar in the blood. I've seen where it's either Alzheimer's or dementia is where the sugar has actually built up in the brain tissue. I've seen where glaucoma is sugar that has affected the blood vessels of the eyes. So me personally, I'm not a medical practitioner. I would say it's a possibility, Sister Peggy. It's a possibility because we could say that individuals, let's say you have an individual that in their history, they committed a whole lot of atrocities towards other people. So that means they had a lot of overts and they had a lot of withholds, correct? So they had to basically lie to themselves in order to justify what they did so that they wouldn't feel the guilt behind what they committed, correct? So then based on that science, is it possible that when a person commits a large amount of overts and a large amount of withholds, is it possible that when an individual has Alzheimer's or dementia, is it possible that that could be a result of not confronting or not confronting the things that they've done in the past to other people? I would say it's a possibility, but it's not necessarily that for every case. You're on mute, Sister Peggy.
Engrams, and they stack up, right? And when you process, you just move them out. But so many people, when they don't get that processing, don't they get dementia?
It could be a possibility because if you look at what's taking place, Allah, I'll look at it from the perspective of the ayat, Holy Qur'an. Allah says, it's Surah 3, ayat 140. And Allah says, as a wound has afflicted you, a wound has also afflicted the disbeliever. And that we bring these days around by turns, that Allah may know, I think it says that Allah may know those who do believe and those who disbelieve. And then it says that he uses these days to purge the believers and to, I think it says, punish the disbelievers. So I say that to say this: when a person has lived a certain life and they have a lot of things that have accumulated. Remember, Allah says in the Holy Qur'an, some of us will be given a book in our left hand and some in our right. And some will say, oh, woe is me. I don't even want to know what's in my book. Meaning, I don't want what I've done in the past to be brought to the present where I actually have to face the things I've done. So it could be possible that when people are going through what they're going through now is because of the things that they have determined not to confront with regards to what they have done in the past. But I believe, and this part is my personal opinion, I believe Allah in his beneficence and mercy gives everyone the opportunity to make that choice. So many of us in the nation had the option to study the tech, to not study the tech, to receive auditing, or to not receive auditing. And we were given the instruction that wherever the minister said, go, we said, stay from. So if we have not followed the minister's instructions with regards to this particular point, with regards to the tech, then that is almost as if we're saying, I am choosing not to confront the stuff from my past. But it's almost like we're saying that ignorance is bliss. No, ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is iblis.
That's good.
The things that we have in the past, we are still going to be held accountable for them. But we've been given the option, because Allah is Al-Rahman, Al-Rahim. He's the beneficent and the merciful. He's the all-forgiving, the oft-returning to forgiveness. Even as sinners, he's given us the option, confront your stuff and let it go. There are some who are taking the opportunity to confront what they've done to other people, to confront what was done to them, to confront what they permitted to occur because they observed things and they didn't step in to change it, and to confront what they have done to themselves. All of us are going through that right now. We're all being given the opportunity to confront it and let it go. Some of us are choosing not to confront it. Does that kind of answer the question?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So then, may I use that? Do you have that trademark yet?
What's that?
Ignorance is not bliss; it's iblis. I'm just joking.
No, I looked at Iblis's name one day. Iblis. I looked at the I stood for ignorant. Ignorance is bliss. No, ignorance is Iblis. Because Iblis, when you look at the word, the root word comes from balasa, and balasa comes from sin that is confined to the individual. Shaitan, I believe, is when sin is what goes from one person to another person. So Iblis is devil, and the minister has taught on devil is what we do with ourselves. Shaitan is when our sin is transferred to another person. But I always looked at Iblis as ignorance is bliss. And no, I haven't trademarked it yet.
Can you repeat that, brother Lukman?
Oh God, repeat what?
Just the last 10 seconds.
When you look at the word Iblis in the Holy Qur'an, it'll bring you to, one of the footnotes it brings you to the root word. The root word is balasa, balasa. And it in the footnote, it describes it as when someone's sin is confined to themselves. Okay. So when we're doing certain things and it's confined to ourselves, that's devil, that's Iblis. But when we call it, let's get together and do X, Y, and Z, now we're taking what we do and we're spreading it to other people. That's Shaitan.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
That's Shaitan. Shaitan, I believe, is one whose evil is not confined to themselves.
That's why they affect the multiple, the many.
Yeah. So, all right, Sister Angela, Brother Eric, and then we will land this plane. Go ahead, Sister Angela.
Yeah, I was thinking about what the minister said with Iblis. He said, not Iblis, he was talking about bliss, and he said, ignorant. The saying ignorance is bliss, he said ignorance is death. And yeah, because, my people, we suffer and die every day from what we say, what we don't know, what we're ignorant to. Mm-hmm. And then I was thinking about a clear I ran into. I ran into a person that is in Church of Scientology. She's a clear, but she did something very I guess worth mentioning. She was using some very manipulative tactics, and I was looking at her like, wow. So yeah, being a clear, is it possible that a clear would lie?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the answer.
Clear only means that they that they're able to make a decision
based on present
not
time.
influenced by
Anyone else but
past trauma.
themselves.
Yeah, so of course
That's
they could
right.
lie.
Yeah,
That's
so the
dangerous.
clear.
Yeah.
The clear basically gives the person the opportunity to be who they
Really
choose to
are.
be.
Yes,
Exactly.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Sister Angela.
Yes, sir. Praise be
Brother
to
Eric,
Yes, sir.
you got the final word, then we're going to close it out.
I come in defense of those who are in state of dementia. I don't know anybody in the state of Alzheimer, but I know dementia and Alzheimer are very close to each other. If we look at what's going on right now in the nation of Islam, how many believers that we know are in the state of dementia? Is it accidental? Is it provoked? Or is it something that is deliberate? That something is being done to make people fall into dementia? I just give the people in our group, but when we go external to the nation of Islam, how many other people we know from different churches, from different organizations, from different piece of work that are in that state of dementia? So what is being done that causes it? What are we eating? What are we drinking? What are we breathing that bring us to that state? And it is sad to see in the nation of Islam, those who are affected are the ones who serve most. Minister Don is a man that lived a correct life, and also he was teaching others how to maintain that life. And he and his wife end up in that state of dementia. Okay, we have a few here. I don't remember their names. I could bring a lot of names that I know from the nation of Islam who are suffering that. My wife has that core problem. See? So now, how did that happen? Because they know she had a very close contact to the family because she was the minister's lawyer and the family's lawyer. So that means they are attacking all of those who could be a helper in the cause. And helping in the cause doesn't mean only when you are doing your final call, you are giving charity and this or that. But there are so many functions that it needs to be done. The most honorable Ajama say, we need everything in a nation. So that means everybody has a part to play. From those who sweep the floor to those who are sending contraption up there. All right, so now we have to be very careful with ourselves. And this is one thing I have stopped to do, to go eat in functions where people are serving me. If it's a function I see, there is a line or everybody coming and they're taking it from this place, put it in your plate, that I will do. But anything that has to be served, I don't need it. Because I have to be very careful. You too got to be careful. If you think you are doing something that is valuable for the nation of Islam or in the nation of Islam, somebody have eyes on you already. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. And on that note,
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Joseph.
You have a
Yes, sir.
I just want to say that what Brother was just saying is absolutely correct. Because, you know, if we say that we're a nation, we're not no glee club, no sorority, or none of that. So they don't care about sororities or glee clubs because they're not forming a nation. Here we are forming a nation, you know, so that means we have to have everybody doing their part in a nation. There's certain aspects of the nation that is levels to it. And like Brother was saying, we got to be mindful that everybody's eyes is on us because we have accepted Allah and His Christ.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes, sir. Sister Sophie, did you have something you wanted to share before we close out?
Yes, brother, we are supposed to remind you of another tape you're supposed to play of Minister Farrakhan.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to play it as soon. We'll close it out, and then I'll play it before we break. But yes, ma'am, I'll do that. Sister Deborah.
Yeah, just really quick, brother Eric, Sister Angela, and I just spoke about this very same thing. And I asked her, should the alarm be sounded? Because too many people in the nation are getting Alzheimer's. And you are absolutely correct. I'm from Mosque number 11 under Minister Don and Sister Shirley. And one of the first things that I learned with coming in was to get rid of aluminum, the aluminum pots and pans. And so Sister Angela and I were trying to figure out what is it? What is it that's happening with especially with the believers, with this Alzheimer's and dementia? It's like, I think an alarm should be sounded because this is not normal to me. I don't think it's normal. So yes, sir, you sound the alarm for me. That's something we need to talk about. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Sister Angela had her hand up.
You saw it. I tried to put it down real quick. I would say this in talking with Sister Deborah. You have to look at the difference between the two. One is not being in present time. The other is in a state or a demented state. So that one speaks to aberrations more to me. You know what I mean? It could be, because if you ever been around a person with dementia, it can get very violent. Now, in Alzheimer's, you can scare them and they react because they don't remember who are you? Why are you here? Why are you touching me? But dementia can just from the rip just be, they're fighting what's in their mind, and then they'll do it physically. So the only two things that I could come up with when we spoke is, of course, absolutely how to eat to live, because we cannot say Master Fard Muhammad did not see this. And especially fasting. I think we're going to have to turn it up a couple of notches real soon with the fasting. More than once a month. I think we probably have to go twice a month with fasting.
Yes, ma'am. But keep in mind, we're told fast 3 days out of the month if we're eating one meal a day.
Yeah, yes.
That also implies if we're not eating one meal a day, then we need to fast more than 3 days out of the month. That's just something to think about. But we'll end it right here. What I'll do is I'll end it here. We'll close it out, and then I'll share the clip that I have with the minister speaking about the tech. So let's go ahead and close out in prayer. Attention prayer. I seek refuge in Allah from the accursed Satan. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise is due to Allah, Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, thine aid do we seek. Please, Allah, guide us on the straight path, the path upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, not the path upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor of those who go astray after hearing thy teaching. Ameen.
That beer.
I mean.